Hey guys, good morning, everybody. Today is Thursday, May 30th. It is 6:25 right now. Market's going to open in about 5 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and set up this room real quick, and we'll get started shortly with our analysis for today. It's got a few things here to update, and we should be good to go. All right, looks good. So let me get this link sent out to you guys here in the premium. Sent out. All right, as people join in, I'm going to go ahead and start marking up liquidity over here. Going down to the 8 hour, down to the 4 hour, down to the 2 hour, down to the 1 hour, down to the 30 minute, down to the 15. Man, there's a lot of levels down here. These are not going to hit today, but I'll mark them up just in case. Down to the 10 minute. That's it for the nearby levels. And it looks like we are good to go. All right, so I got liquidity marked up here, guys. Closest level of liquidity above is going to be at 38,235. Closest level below is going to be at 38,165. There's liquidity right there. Going over to our clean chart, I'm going to mark up 6:30. Mark up 8 o'clock. Go up to the 4 hour real quick. There's not really any structure that's nearby. So I'm going to go down to the, I'll mark the support right here. Let's go down to the 1 hour. Yeah, price has been dumping. So as you guys can see, there's not really much structure that's nearby to current price. Yeah, there's just nothing here. So there's no nearby structure. We'll mark that up once we get closer to that point when market opens up here in a few moments. Here is our main chart. I believe there was news today. There was news at 5:30, news at 7 and 7:30. So 5:30, 7, 7:30. Obviously, this big push right here. 5:30, 7, and 7:30. All right, guys, market's about to open. Volatility is a little bit higher than usual today. Pre-market, it's at currently 11:12. It's probably gonna push up to, there we go. Market is now open. Gonna push up to 15 probably by today. So I got that marked up there. There's no current trend right now. So once we have the range established, we can come back and take a look at the zones on the clean chart. So again, price is right here in between the liquidity zones. Closest level of liquidity above is at 38,235. Closest level below is at 38,165. Either level can get hit today. So we'll see what happens here when price continues to move along. Obviously, you can see price is kind of whipsawing back and forth. Here's the opening candle right here. Price kind of jumped down a little bit, then it spiked right back up. And here we go with the continuation to the upside. If this here is the case, then we might be looking for some buys today. Looks like we're swinging into a bullish trend. Looking at this here, I'm not going to count that as a rejection off the first candle for the PRB because the body's pretty much covering the pivots right there. But we'll see what happens here when price decides to retrace back from where it's currently at. So we're getting a big push of volatility here on open. Just got to be a little patient with this because if market's going to move typically how it's been moving for the past couple of weeks and past couple of months, it's probably going to whipsaw around right here, establish a higher high. We're going to create that as a resistance, come back down, establish a lower low for the support, and it's going to range between this middle area here. So we'll continue watching to see where this goes, but right now at the specific moment, there's not really much, going on right here. Let's see, Patricia just put this in the group. She said, so if you guys are using Rhythmic, don't use Rhythmic right now. There's an issue with Rhythmic if anybody is using Rhythmic. Thanks, Patricia, for the heads up. There's a problem with Rhythmic right now. I've had that issue in the past. That's why I don't really like using Rhythmic. They always have issues. So just a heads up. Thanks, Patricia, for sharing that with the group. All right, so the first level of liquidity right here got hit already. It's a full TP. If you guys caught that, looks like Nick caught it. Not sure if anybody else did, but Nick got it right there. So nice work, Nick. There goes the first level of liquidity right there. There's some more levels of liquidity above right here. Next level right there just got hit as well. So 2 levels of liquidity right there. Price is still pushing up right here, as you guys can see. There's no retracement yet. Looking over here at our levels chart. So this would have been the push right here. You can see how price pushed up, came back for the retracement, confirmation on this one right here, and pushed right through. So here is our main chart, or sorry, our clean chart. We don't have the zones marked up yet because the higher high here is still not established. Once this is established right here, I'll mark this up as the higher high, which would be the resistance. But right now it's not established. It's not going to be established until we get a low. So we had a higher high here. We need to get a low point first, and then from there, we will be able to identify it as a resistance point. But right now, price is still pushing up higher. So we'll continue to follow this through and see where it continues to push. ATR is currently 17 right now, so it's pretty decently high. You can see price is rejecting directly off the sessions right here. We'll see if this is where price starts to swing back below. And if that's the case, that's completely fine as well. There's one thing that I noticed yesterday. I was kind of just looking through the charts, guys. It's like a basic price action pattern. If you guys ever see momentum signal, there has to be volatility in the market though. But if you see a momentum signal like this, and then you see a green candle that follows it with no wick on the bottom, that's typically a hint that price is going to push right through. I don't know if you guys know that. Maybe some people do, maybe some people don't. But this is a basic price action pattern that I used to look at it before. When I was trading just based off the momentum signal. So if you see a momentum signal like this, and then you see a green candle with no wick on the bottom, that means that the buying pressure is so strong that price never retraced down. Usually indicates that there's going to be a big push after it, or a decent push. So buy signal, and typically you want to trade in the direction of the trend. So if the trend's bullish, You can see this candle right here had no wick on the bottom, and then it pushed right through. And you can see it prepared for this big push right here that was due to come. This was pre-market, so the volatility was a little lower. But if you guys want to look for that, that's a pattern that you can maybe look for. Obviously, avoid red flags. There's another pattern right here, but it was at the red flag. So again, if you're looking for a little move there, it's enough to catch at least 10 points. Works really well on the higher time frames too. So look for the momentum signal, look for the trend, look for the strong green candle, and it typically continues pushing that direction. So as you can see over here, price is rejecting directly off the sessions. This is why we don't trade at the sessions. It's an area of manipulation. Price came up here, faked out, swung right back below. Same thing could happen right here. Price can come back below right here, bounce off the session, and then maybe range within this area. But we do have the resistance established here now, so I'll mark that up. Here is the resistance zone. Once we have a lower low, I'll mark up the support. We don't have that yet, but it'll probably be coming up soon. But this is the same pattern we've seen over the past couple months. On open here, price will typically have a rush of volatility. Rush of volatility here will establish the support resistance, and then price will typically range within those price points, throughout the entire session. The range that we drew yesterday pretty much ran through for about, until the end of the session. Then at the end, there was a big dump right on Asia Open, or not Asia Open, Australia Open. I guess it's considered Asia sessions, yeah. All right, so we got price back down here. And no surprise, this is kind of what we were expecting. This happens pretty much every single day. Big push up, whipsaw back down, establish support, and then a range from there. So again, we're just waiting here for some sort of confirmation. Right here, you can see this candle is rejecting off the pivot down below. So this is going to be the start of a PRB entry if the rejection there does confirm. There's 20 seconds left on the candle, so it's got some time. But for the most part, it looks like it's going to reject off it there. So we got a start of a PRB right here. There goes the first rejection. Let's see. So pretty much all the levels of liquidity here got hit already up top. Price is coming back down right now. Yeah, Daniel said that was such a weird sell signal, right? Because it was a green candle and it was actually pushing up pretty strong. Still came up with the sell signal. Yeah, you guys can see the movement here is pretty weird altogether. Price is pretty much coming back to open over here, as you guys can see. Rejected off the sessions right there, but now it's coming back to open here to retest the open. So there we go. Price is back to open right there. The ATR is very high right now, as you guys can see. ATR is currently at 24. Probably want to wait for the market to stabilize here a little bit before you start looking for entries. It wouldn't really matter because there's nothing for you to take here anyways. So there's no PRB entry yet. We have the rejection, we have the space consolidation candle. If price pushes up and bounces off the pivot, there's going to be your PRB entry. It's not there yet, but it is setting up here. We're getting a double body rejection right here off the opening price. This could set up for a BB3 entry as well. So if this is the case, the BB3 is going to line up with the PRB, which for the most part is typically a good sign, as you guys know. Because you'll have a confluence for two breakouts in the same direction. Odds of the entry hitting is very likely. All right, so we're getting a wick rejection right here off the level 4 pivot. If this candle closes green and it wicks above, this will be the entry for the PRB for anybody who's looking to take the PRB. It's kind of hard to tell how it's going to close because it's currently at the session, so it's another area of manipulation, but If it closes as a strong green candle, this will be the PRB entry. For those of you who are looking to take the PRB, we had the first rejection over here on this initial candle, space consolidation. Again, right here, if this is a strong green candle, this will set up as the PRB entry. Mark it up for you guys, for those of you who are looking to take it there. Still got a little bit of time on there. All right, so nothing else going on here right now. It's just, it's kind of in between the pivots. It's really just stuck at the sessions right here. So if you kind of take everything off, like everything off the chart, and you just look at the sessions, for the most part, this is an area of manipulation right here. You guys can see where the manipulation happens. It's like right here at the sessions right here, opening price. These are like key areas where you don't want to trade at, because this is where price gets manipulated. I mean, manipulation can work in your favor. It can work against you. That's why it's an area where you don't want to trade, because if you trade at an area of manipulation, you don't really have a good idea as to like where price is going to go, right? You kind of want to trade outside of that area. So not much going on right here as price continues to bounce around. Sadie's asking, hi, TR, TP stop loss 1020. So as of right now, I'm going to keep it at 1020 because the ATR looks like it's kind of dropping down a little bit. I think 1020 is still okay. Yeah, because the ATR is slowly dying, like what Vimal just said. You guys can see here, it's not like the big ATR was created because of these big candles right here, but the candles are starting to get smaller and smaller. So I'll leave it at 1020 for right now. If we need to make adjustments, if the ATR stays pretty high, then we will, we'll adjust it back to like 1025, probably initially, and then if necessary, even higher. But for the most part, I think 1020 is okay from where it's currently at. So we just got to wait here for the market to kind of stabilize a little bit. It's starting to stabilize here. You can see prices starting to slow down. The candles aren't as huge as they were over here. So it could be a good sign. Anyways, the PRB is currently running right now, guys. It actually started from right here. It's pushing up right now. So we'll continue to follow it. I'm not in the position, of course. We're just following here to see where it goes. I'm looking for a momentum divergence. So my strategy hasn't changed, guys. I'm still focused on momentum divergence right now. The reason for that is because of the type of market that we're currently in right now. It's hard to really catch other entries because price doesn't really move very directional. So as the main thing I can look at here would be the momentum divergence. So I'll keep looking for that. If we see anything here, I'll let you guys know. We're looking for a buy signal. That's the main thing we're looking for here. Once we get that buy signal, we can start looking for some possible opportunities for entry. But until then, there's not going to be really much of a direction because that buy signal is going to be our catalyst for entry. So the buy signal here is pending, as you guys can see. I'm just waiting for that to close. Once it closes, I'll look for the momentum divergence here to play through. I'll look for price maybe push up a little bit, retrace, come back up, and look for opportunities somewhere down here in the middle. But again, no buy signal there, as you guys can see. This area right here where price is currently at, the sessions, that's where you want to avoid because you can see where price is pretty much stuck at. Let's go over here to our clean chart. So let me just turn on the sessions. Okay, so you guys can see over here from our clean chart, this is why you want to avoid any of these horizontal lines. You want to avoid the purple line because that's a session right there. You want to avoid the green line. That's the session right there. You want to avoid the blue line because that's opening price. You guys can see where price is getting manipulated, right? Price will push up a little bit. It'll fake out right here, pull back down, get down to this point, fake out right here. And it just kind of bounces between these areas. It's like pinball, right? It keeps ping-ponging back and forth between these areas. Eventually, price is going to break out. So like price will just keep ping-ponging between this area. And eventually, it'll break out to the upside or it'll break out to the downside. The problem with this here is that you're not sure which direction it'll break out to, right? You're really taking a big chance if you're thinking of like where to trade in. But the problem with this here too as well is that you could be right about the direction, but price will just fake out again. So for example, here, see how price is coming below the opening price? Price can easily do this. It can come down slightly. You might think it's going to drop, and then price pulls right back into this area, then it actually reverses on you. Right? You guys have seen that before. This whole week's full of traps. Tuesday was a big trap we got caught in, unfortunately, at the support level. And it just keeps repeating itself. So just keep that in mind. This is a clean chart. I'm gonna keep it as clean as possible so that you guys can see, for the most part, price is at opening price. And we'll just wait to see where this ends up going. There's no support here. If this establishes as a lower low, this will establish as a support. And this is another reason why you want to be careful with this becoming the bottom point, because it's probably going to fake out. So what I see here is it's probably going to establish a lower low, fake out, and then come right back up. Maybe range here and possibly break above. So just be patient. There's no need to force anything here. Obviously, I'm not in any positions here. I think the only entry that people have taken were the liquidity pushes over here. If anything, price might drop lower to tap this lower level of liquidity right here. This is going to be a support level as well, so just want to be careful for that too. Price might just fake out, come down to the support level, fake out, and come right back up. So for me personally, I'm looking for the fake outs down here, mainly because we've seen so many fake outs happen this week. So it looks like the fake out here is setting up. We have the lower low right there. Once this lower low is established, I'll mark this up as a support. Or if price doesn't look like it's going to come back down, I'll just mark it up as support, and then we'll be able to, I'll just do this for now. So we have a visualization of like where support is probably going to be at. So this looks like the support level. This looks like every market that's been happening pretty much every day this week, every day for the past 3 months, actually, right? This happens every morning. So what I'm going to be doing is I'll be studying this here. You know, there's possibly a breakout type entry that you can take off this. Like every morning. So what I've been kind of looking at on the charts every morning is look for the overextension, because typically this is usually what happens. Price will push in one direction, it'll get overextended. You'll probably see like a double body rejection, like a V1 pattern right there, and then it ends up coming straight down. So like if you see something like that, I mean, you can probably catch that even like before the candle closes, and then just, you know, write it back down, back to open. It's the same thing that happened yesterday, same thing that happened on Tuesday. You know, it's typically what it looks like. So if that's the case, and that's how market conditions are for like the next couple of months, then, you know, we can probably put together some sort of strategy where you can catch the overextension. And if you guys want to test it, you know, feel free. I think if you look at the first extension and then look for a reversal pattern, look for a CV, V1 variation, V2, V3 variation, anything like that, that'll probably be an indication of, you know, correction back down. That's literally what happened here. Market opened at 630, pushed up. You guys can see the V1 variation pattern right here, rejecting directly off the sessions. And then you probably could have entered like halfway down, back to open. Your stop loss right there. Well, we'll take a look at that. I mean, this isn't new. If you guys remembered, like there was a time period where people were taking back to open entries like almost every day. We did the same thing. We had a similar market where price kind of pushed away. We looked for the reversal pattern and we identified that as a continuation, or not continuation, but correction back down to open. Yeah, exactly. Nick said Rick's back to open strat. There's a good period where that was like really hitting. It was like a couple months, I think. Yeah, exactly. Nick said it was always a joke to him, but it did work. So, you know, it was funny to a lot of people because Rick would go crazy over it. He would see it happen, and this guy would he would feel like $1,000,000, right? He would go and buy like a bunch of accounts, and then it would work well for like a couple months, but then it stopped working and he just couldn't adapt from it. So yeah. Nick said, yeah, Rick was a straight up gambler. Yeah, it was tough because like there was like no strategy behind it. He kind of just took it as it like swung back to open, but there was no like reversal patterns he was looking for or anything like that. He just kind of took it. And it was good for like maybe 2 or 3 months. And then obviously the markets change, and yeah, it just stopped working. And then here it is working again. All right, so here is our clean chart. The support is no longer there because price pushed down lower. So the support's actually a lot lower now. If this is the case and price continues to drop lower, this is completely fine. We might be able to look for a momentum divergence down here. Again, price is currently at news price right here. Again, like I said, all these horizontal lines right here are things to look out for because they're going to be areas of manipulation. So, I mean, this could be a fake out or this could be a continuation. And so if you guys remember yesterday, I kind of mentioned, if you guys are looking for that pivot cross move, there was a sell signal right here, and you guys can see pivots 1 and 2 cross, or basically the green pivot 1 cross, so cross below. And this could have been your entry right here for your pivot cross or whatever you guys were taking. So I've kind of been giving hints throughout the week. There's like different things. Like there's not one way to apply a specific strategy. You can use price action to help you with certain things. You can use price action, or you can use just little things that happen in the market. Like you have a momentum signal come up, whether it's valid or invalid, and then you can see the cross right there for the pivots. And that could have been another entry right there. So there's just a lot of different entries you guys can take. They're not entries I would personally take because I haven't personally tested them. I would only take entries that I'm specifically comfortable with. I don't just take random entries, or I don't like actively test strategies that I haven't back tested yet. But if I do see them on the chart, I'll kind of give you guys a heads up so that you guys can see. Yeah, Natasha said, yes, I took that one, but I like to wait until the trend meter changes. Yeah, that's a good thing too. So you guys can see over here, Natasha's like one of the people who still uses the trend meter pretty often. Trend meter is not super necessary because I think the pivots are a little more of a more accurate depiction of the trend. Sorry, guys. Yeah, Sadie said there was a nice V1 right here. Yeah, that was a nice pattern right there for reversal, but it was at a red flag, which is news price, so he decided not to take it. But it did play out pretty nice. And you guys can see where price is rejecting directly off, right? News price. So just keep that in mind, guys. I'm going to try to give you guys as much of a heads up as possible when these red flags come up, but they're pretty obvious when they're like set up over here at the horizontal lines. William said maybe a BB3 setting up. Yeah, so there's a double body rejection down here. We have a buy signal. If this candle closes green, this could be the breakout V3. So if anybody's looking to take that, I mean, for me personally, it's at opening price, so I think it's a little tricky. But if you guys want to take it, I'll mark it up for you guys here. Not looking like it's going to close though, because this candle's pretty red. But I mean, who knows? This can just spike up at the last second. We have 15 seconds left on it. It's probably going to push up super hard at the last second like it typically does. And it looks like it's going to close red. So no BB3 there. Or maybe. Yeah, so it looked like it was trying to push up at the last second, but it didn't. So there's nothing there. We got news over here at 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock news is pending home sales month over month and year over year. So pending home sales are going up. Pending home sales month over month are actually down, or forecasted to be down. So we'll see. Looks like it might be mixed. Yeah, this is a CV entry right here, Akil. So I don't know if anybody identified that. Anybody else? Akil over here identified the CV entry. It was at opening price though, so I mean, I personally wouldn't have taken it, but it is a CV entry. So as you guys know, the CV entry is actually one of the good strategies to apply right now during a sideways market. There's a couple of strategies that work very well during a sideways market. CV is one of them. They don't come up very often. There's actually CVs in both directions right here, Akil. So price came down right here. There was a CV right here, but there was a red flag. And then price pushed up right here. And there was another CV, but again, a red flag because of the opening price. So it's a setup, but if you're going to factor in, the red flags here, they're not entries that I personally would be willing to take because a lot of manipulation happens around these points. So I mean, it's up to your guys' risk appetite, right? If you guys are okay with taking risky trades, feel free to take them. Looks like both of them would have hit. So this one over here would have played through, obviously. This one down here obviously played through as well. So you could have taken both entries there. It's just, for me, I'm just very, very conservative right now because my problem for this month, I think, was I've been taking a lot of FOMO entries. And you guys have noticed that. Like I typically don't take a lot of FOMO entries, but because the market sucks so much and it's been going sideways and slow, I've been taking a lot of bad FOMO entries, which is not good for you guys here because I don't want you guys to feel pressured to take a certain trade because you just really want to take a trade, right? I'm trying to instill some good habits with you guys so that you guys don't get caught up in like what we call here FOMO entries. There's a lot of entries that are coming up, sometimes good, sometimes not. Most of the time not good because there's a lot of red flags, but sometimes I just get tempted to take these FOMO entries and then they ended up not playing well. And then after reviewing the trade, you're like, okay, we could have easily avoided that bad entry. So yeah, I'm gonna try to stay on point with with my consistency. It's just these past couple of months have been hard because the market's been so slow here on open. Today was actually pretty decent. We had some pretty good push. Right now, the ATR is still pretty decently strong. It's currently at 20 ATR. So I'm expecting an entry to happen today. So just keep that in mind. Just got to be patient and I'm expecting it to play through. I just need price to get away from these red flags. So I don't want to trade around. So I don't want to trade at any of these lines that go from left to right. I don't want to trade at the pink line. I don't want to trade at the blue line. I don't want to trade at the green line. And I don't want to trade at the purple line over here. These are just areas where I expect price to be manipulated and I don't want to get caught in the manipulation. And the reason why these are areas of manipulation is because a lot of people are looking at these price points. You guys want to keep that in mind. You kind of want to stay under the radar with your trades. So you don't want to trade where everybody's trading. You want to trade kind of where it's in the open and price is just flowing, right? That's typically what we look for. We look for price to just flow with momentum and we try to hop in and catch that momentum before it dies out. But you can see over here, price is ranging between opening price and news price down here. And you want to be careful around these areas because that's where everybody's looking at, right? Everybody's looking for the bounce off this blue line. Everybody's looking for the bounce off this pink line. So that becomes tricky because at one point, price is not going to bounce and it's going to maybe fake out and break right through. So just a reminder for a lot of you guys here who are kind of tempted to take certain trades at these price points. Yeah, Kenneth said the MPS has been pretty solid the last few weeks. I wait for it to break structure first, though. Gotcha. Yeah. So Kenny over here looks for price to break structure, and then he looks for the correction, which is good. I think it's good that you're using another confluence before you actually enter into the positions, because that's very key, of course. That's why for me, I'm looking for like the confluence as well. I'm looking for something to like make sure that it's not going to reverse on me. Because if you get in right away, like for example, you can probably catch trades like directly off these bounces, right? Like the quick bounces. Like you don't even have to wait for it to close sometimes. You just look for it to come down to that point and then you just catch a little bounce off these red flag zones. Or like mainly off the like in the direction of the trend. So price kind of came down below right here, came back for the retest. You could have had like a pending order right there just waiting. And just catch these little bounces off the structure. So price is bearish, obviously price comes back up, bounces off structure right there. For something like that, I would definitely have like a 1-to-1, like maybe like a 10-10. Because it's tricky. It's gotta have to play out pretty quick. Yeah, Kill said been getting caught in fake outs recently. Very annoying. Yeah, I agree. That's why I try to avoid them as much as possible. So like I'm okay with trading in this open area up here because there's no red flags. I'm okay with trading up here where it's open. I'm even okay with trading within this area here, but it's just a little too close. So we got the news candle right here. Color that pink, take this line off. I'm glad that news is right here in the middle too. Let's take a look at retail sentiment real quick. Thanks, William, for the numbers there. So retail sentiment is currently 57% long. This is more on the neutral bearish side right now. I don't think it's super bearish, but it's neutral bearish. Looking at CNBC, the Dow is down pretty heavy right now. It's down 300 points. So yeah, it looks like everything here is kind of dumping. So it says over here, Salesforce, Kohl's plummet. The earnings just weren't that good this month. So you can see over here, Salesforce tumbles 19% on pace for the worst day since 2024. And you can see over here, the Dow loses 300 points as Salesforce stocks drop, shares drop. So there's a lot of things going on behind the scenes, which is completely fine. You know, I'll accept the volatility. I'd rather have this volatile directional market than the slow market we're kind of used to. And you can see prices coming back down below this point. So prices over here, retesting the support level. And we'll see if it actually breaks below it. So it's currently at the support level right here. This is the support. It broke past it. It didn't actually close below it, but it broke past it right there. And you can see here, it's trying to climb back up. We have a sell signal there. So we'll see if it actually breaks past and closes below the support level right here. Look out for the fake out. So that was news price right there. Let's take a look at the news for today. The news was negative. It was pretty bad, actually. So looking at this right here, pending home sales year over year, it was forecasted to be 0.5. It was actually negative 7.4. That's pretty bad year over year. And then looking at this month over month, it was really bad too. So home sales are not looking good so far. That's not a good sign, right? The stock market's dropping, home sales are down. Doesn't look good for the economy right now. For those numbers specifically. All right, price is still at the support level right here. You guys can see price hasn't been able to close below it. It's trying to, but it hasn't been able to yet. It's currently just sitting right there at the support. Yeah, Maria said another invalid momentum. Yeah. A lot of invalid ones for the sells today. I think the bearish, mainly I think it's because of the bearish pressure is just too strong right now. When the bearish pressure is strong, everything, the stock market's down, housing's down, sentiment is bearish as well. Everything's kind of pointing towards a shift in market. I mean, everything here is bearish. You can see the 4 hours bearish, 1 hour is bearish, 30 minutes bearish, 10 minutes bearish, 5 minutes switching to bearish, and the 1 minute's bearish here as well. So everything is pretty much bearish right now. I don't know if it'll necessarily hold. But I mean, this is kind of what we were expecting, that correction to the downside. I think it'll correct back up eventually because like I showed you guys earlier, there's a ton of liquidity sitting above. But you know, the market's gonna have to slowly climb its way up or slowly climb its way down. I don't think we're gonna have a huge drop, at least not yet. Yeah, next the stock market doesn't want to just plummet though, because it'll cause a panic. Yeah, I agree. Nick said algos are holding it back. Market's been taking it on the chin lately. Yeah, I agree 100%. Because you guys can see the market, like if you go on the higher time frame, let's go on the daily time frame real quick. So if you look at the daily here, prices is kind of in a range. So price was climbing up over here since 2023. I mean, it's been climbing up forever now. And it's due for a retracement. right? Just a correction back down. So price has actually just been ranging between this area here. I know Nick kept mentioning a new all-time high. It almost got there, Nick. So we were talking about that last week, right? He kept mentioning that the all-time high was going to get hit, and it got close, but not close enough. Maybe off by 100 points, not that much. And then it just came crashing down right after. So, I mean, from what it looks like, price is attempting to maybe, well, it's currently ranging. The support's down here. Price actually hasn't reached the support yet. So price might come down to the support level and then it might just bounce from there. But it doesn't really matter to us. We don't really care about the bigger picture, right? We're just looking at what's happening here for the day or for the hour, actually. We don't even care what's going to happen for the day. Like the market can do what it wants for the rest of the day, but we just care what's happening between 6:30 and 8. That's kind of the key thing here. And that's why I kind of stick to this time period because you don't really have to worry about too much. You just want to look at what's happening here and now. And it looks like if you catch the bounces at like this right here, I think this is pretty solid. If you catch the bounces in the direction of market, so like for example, price is bearish here, price comes down, retests opening price, take the sell real quick, price comes down below, pushes back up, tests opening, news price comes down real quick. I don't think the news price is probably not going to be as important, but like the bigger red flags here are like, it's kind of easy to catch these little bounces here. If anybody's looking for something risky, I think that's something that I would probably be inclined to take a look at. But I wouldn't get greedy. So I would only take the first bounce off it. So for example, here price came up, bounced off the opening price, could have taken that for a quick 10 points, right? Again, right here, I wouldn't mess with this anymore. I'd look for price to maybe push up, bounce off the sessions right here for another 10 points. But at this point, I probably wouldn't look at it at that in that type of view because the trend here is shifting. So I think at this point it's kind of too late because the trend might shift back up. But just something to look at if you guys are looking for something that's you're trying to squeeze in a quick little profit here and there. The bounces off these red flags are actually, I mean, it's pretty resilient. Like for example, if your price pushed up, bounced off it. Price came below, retested, bounced off it. But you have to be trading the direction of the trend, of course. You want to trade random trades here. Yeah, Kenny said Salesforce is down almost 20%. Microsoft and Amazon are also red right now. Yeah. So the big players in the Dow right now are kind of what's slumping the market, right? Salesforce is down a ton. Microsoft and Amazon are down as well. The good thing about that is that people try to buy the dip, right? So Salesforce might be down, but people are going to buy that dip. Price is going to dip down a little bit. People are going to buy it, and then this is going to climb right back up, right? So you guys just got to keep that in mind. Although price is dropping, when people buy the dip, it'll come right back up. That's why it's more ideal to take buys here versus sells for this specific asset, because this asset is a bullish asset, of course. All right, so we still don't have anything here. It's 7:09 right now. Patiently waiting for something here to play through. There's a new higher high right here. We'll see if this here establishes. So it looks like we have the actual range here established now. So you guys can see from this point, this is the range. So this was the initial push, price came below. And then for the past hour or so, price has been ranging within this zone right here. Yeah, Kenny said, yeah, especially at the session lows. Yeah, exactly. So it's at the session lows here, pretty much. These are all the session lows. People are just buying the dips. See, the thing is the Asia low is still down here. So price can still drop. You guys got to keep that in mind. Price can still drop to this point, and then it'll probably bounce off here. So just something to keep in mind, guys. I mean, it doesn't mean price is going to bounce, but for the most part, that's something to look at. Hey, what's up, Brock? Yeah, you haven't missed much, Brock. It's all good. Yeah, Brock's a little late today. It's a slow day. Well, it's been slow for the past hour right here. It's been ranging between these two, or I'll go to the clean chart. It's been ranging between these two zones right here. We had the initial push here on open, which typically happens like every day, and then price dropped into this range, and price is now bouncing back and forth. So here we go with the continuation back to the downside. Looks like price might come back down and retest the support level right here. All right, so let's see if it continues dropping. If it continues dropping past this area, it breaks down below the support, we might have a setup for a momentum divergence here, starting to play through. All right, so price starting to dump. It's getting past the support right here. Let's see if it closes below. See, you can see that it has trouble closing below the support level. But if it does, then this may be a possibility for continuation to the downside and then possibly, a setup for momentum divergence here. Yeah, Barack said hoping for just one trade. Nowadays, they don't hope for much. Yeah, and I agree with you. Barack, same here. So it looks like price is going to attempt to retest, or not retest, but test the Asia low right here, the purple line. It's coming down to it. It's not there yet, but it's almost down there. So price has broken and closed below the support level. The thing to look out for here is the fake out. So look out for the fake out at this lower point because price can probably bounce off the Asia low over here and fake out right back into the range. So a couple things to look out for here. One of the scenarios here that may play out is a possible fake out down here and a swing back up into the range, or price can continue dropping from this point. So that's one scenario. The other scenario here is price may break below it, retest, and continue dropping from here. A couple different things here that can play through. It's looking like price is going to have trouble getting past the sessions though. So we'll see. This candle has about 15 seconds left on it. We'll see if it rejects off the sessions right there or if it breaks below it and closes. Yeah, it looks like it's going to reject off the sessions, just like it does to pretty much every other sessions. So it didn't actually close below it. It was a pretty strong red candle though. You can see the red candle over here had no wick on top. So the price action shows that there's some pretty good strength behind this. It just wasn't really able to hold as strong as it wanted to. Nice, Nick. Yeah, so Nick over here actually caught the high-low scalp since it was that was a pretty quick move right there, Nick, right before it touched the sessions. Kill City's price action plus momentum to take 10 points on the practice account. Nice. So we got price over here attempting to close below the sessions, which is a good sign. All right, so close below right there. This again right here is what I showed you guys earlier, right? So I said if you get a momentum signal and you get a price action candle like that with no wick on top, it's probably going to push down at least 10 points. The only problem is that it was at the sessions right here, so it's not one I would personally take. But if you guys did take that trade right there, you can see it went straight down to full TP. So, I'm always going to give you guys hints. If I see something in the market, like some sort of price action or some sort of setup that you can kind of pull away from the strategies that we're applying, I'll give you guys a heads up. And this is what I've been explaining to you guys today. Said if you guys see a momentum signal in the direction of the trend with no top wick, it's probably going to push down at least 10 points. I would have taken this here if it wasn't at the sessions, but of course, price was at the sessions and it wasn't an area where I wanted to trade at. The thing that you guys want to look out for right here and be careful for is a possible fake out. So just keep that in mind. Look out for the possible fake out. Price can continue dropping, but also look out for the possible fake out. Natasha said, maybe I can't see because I'm on my phone, but I don't see any wicks on these candles. There's wicks on so the past three candles right here, Natasha, there are wicks. This one right here, there was no wick. There's a wick on everything else though. So there was no wick on the sell signal. There's a wick here, no wick, wick here, and wick here as well. So it might be because you're like zoomed out on your phone, but there's like two candles here with no wicks. Sadie said maybe an MPS. Yeah, MPS could be setting up here as well. I'd be a little careful with the MPS though. It looks like price might be overextended at this point, almost. It's past 100 points now. It's going to have to retrace at some point. So trying to see where this ends up going. I'm hoping it kind of just sits down here. If it sits right here, it can start to set up for a momentum divergence. So I'm hoping it doesn't pull too far up. So if it pulls too far up, it's going to be right next to the sessions. But if it just sits down here, it might be able to consolidate a little bit, and then we can catch the possible momentum divergence back down. So you guys can see price hasn't retraced up yet, but the divergence here is trying to set up. So there's a MPS right there, but it's going to be right at like literally on the sessions. It's a little too far out. All right, so we got the divergence right there, the retracement divergence. Now I'm going to look for it to possibly come back down. The only problem here again is going to be the sessions. So you guys can see here, just be careful for the fake out. Price did retrace, swing back up from here. There's a V1 pattern for reversal. Price might come back and retest the support there and come back down. So I'm actually okay with it pulling back a little higher. Like personally, I probably would want to pull back a little higher, but without the buy signal, of course, because if that's the case, then we can probably have the divergence happen over here. But if the buy signal comes up, it's kind of it's pretty much gonna reset the process, and we're not gonna be able to take it. So I'm okay with this here climbing up. I'm just hoping that we don't get a buy signal that comes up. I'm okay with it kind of just inching up a little bit, a little higher, and then correction back down, of course. Yeah, Sadie said a little too risky for the MPS. I agree. It's like right at the session, so I wouldn't look for any MPSs here right now specifically. Like the entry would have to come down and touch the sessions right there. Yeah, exactly. And Nick said always keep in mind that if you're in an MPS and an opposite momentum signal closes, you're supposed to exit out. Yeah, basically cut the loss. And there's also a double body V1 right there. That's what I was mentioning earlier too. I said look out for the fake out over here because the double body down below. So this might be the case. Price might push up, retest the support level, and then come right back down. The sell signal, the buy signal still hasn't come up yet. So I'm okay with price pushing up. I just don't want the buy signal to come up, right? Because the buy signal is pretty much going to invalidate this whole move right here. $7.19 right now. It's getting close to 7.30. All right, perfect. So we got price coming back down right here. Personally, I'd rather have the momentum divergence happen down here anyways. So I'm looking for this to continue back down. So I'm just going to follow the divergence here, see if I can follow it for any opportunity for entry. Looks like price might just consolidate here a little bit. I was hoping this would drop back down before we get too close to news over here. But again, looks like price is still trying to climb up a little higher. rejected directly off the sessions. All right, pending buy signal right here. Again, I'm just hoping the buy signal doesn't close. If it does, that's fine. It's not gonna be the end all be all for us, but it's just gonna reset. So we're gonna have to wait for the next sell signal to come up. So we got the buy signal here, and it looks like it's going to close. Okay, it's all good. Um, I was just looking for it to come back down right here so that we can look for the entry, but unfortunately, now that we have the buy signal here, we're gonna have to wait for another sell signal, which is fine because we have news over here at 7:30 anyway, so we can't really take anything around that time. Let me check the calendar real quick. So the calendar for today, it's just gas stock change. Today's Thursday. So everything's kind of a day back. Usually the gas stocks come out on a Wednesday, but today or this week we had a holiday week, so it's coming out today. Got pushed back a day. All right, so here we go. Waiting for this here to kind of do something again. Volatility is just starting to die down. So it's kind of flat. Let's see. Nick said Trump's currently sitting in court right now, falling asleep while the jury is deliberating. I mean, I get court is boring, but yeah, maybe make some better example for the presidents of our country. I can see why it's boring though, because I used to do the same thing when I was an attorney and I was in court sometimes. Court is really boring. It's like, but I get what you're saying. He's the president, he should be awake. But it's super boring. Like you think about just sitting there and it's just silence. Nothing's going on. Yeah. It's kind of like being in a classroom, except everyone's just kind of waiting. Yeah, I'm curious to see what they come back with. Because he's been on trial for that case for a long time now. All right, so price is climbing back up right here, which again is fine with me, guys. I don't really care where price goes. But it's pulling back into the okay, so the fake out here did play out. So you guys can see how I marked up the fake out right here. I said to look out for the fake out because price is probably going to pull right back into the range. And I mean, that's kind of what we were expecting. This is literally what happens almost every day. Price goes into a range, it fakes out a couple times, one of the big fake outs happens, and then just comes back to this area. It's kind of like this whole bottom area never happened. So this big drop right here, it's kind of like this was just a manipulative move. And it was probably based off the news because you guys remember the news at 7 o'clock here was super negative. So the news at 7 o'clock happened like right here, right? So the news happened right here. This drop was a reaction to the news. So news happened right here. Nothing happened for about like 10 minutes and then it dumped and then it corrected right back up. So it's like this stuff never really happened. Kind of price just came back to where it was. And now this is like the normal flow of market. So now price is back into the normal flow. This drop right here was just based off the news. And then now at this point, price is either going to hopefully break out of this area. So we're back to the normal flow. We'll see if price breaks below and continues dropping, or if it pushes back up and ends up, climbing up higher. I'm hoping something here happens because it's just super annoying that we we analyze the markets every day and there's just no opportunities here for us to take. There's like risky opportunities, but I'm looking for something here that I'm actually interested in taking. So hopefully we get some direction here. It's fine because we have news here at 7:30. It's not really a big deal. It's low impact news. So it looks like we might get news here on the same area. Then hopefully from there until 8, we'll be able to catch something. before it gets too close to market close, or not close, but our time to close up for the day. Yeah, no, I agree with you, Nick. Nick said also, in complete fairness, Trump is a human. He's getting older. I'm sure he's legitimately worn out. Yeah, I agree. Imagine you're that old and you're kind of sitting in court for something that the funny thing is that like I feel like he already knows the answer. He knows what's going to come out of it, right? I'm pretty sure like there's some sort of idea or like they probably agreed to something beforehand. He probably said some more hush money to the jury. So he has an idea of like what's going to come out of it. That's why he's not worried. And if something does come out of it, I'm pretty sure Trump still isn't worried. And I'm pretty sure he's still going to continue running for president, regardless of the fact. All right, so we have a sell signal right here. This is perfect. Sell signal, what we were looking for. See if it actually closes. So Rashida over here caught the CV. Nice work, Rashida. So you guys can see here, this has been an ongoing subject, right? The CVs are good entries during these types of markets because they happen to work very well during a sideways market. Unfortunately, it was just at the session, not the sessions, it was at the news price right here. So I wasn't even paying attention to it. But I can see why she would have taken it because the trend here is bearish. I mean, it points all directions point towards a sell here, right? The trend's bearish, trend meter's bearish, everything's bearish really on all the time frames. But yeah, the main thing here is just that price was in between news. Again, news price over here is like something that you can probably get away with. I wouldn't take anything if it was at opening price or at the session zone. So those are areas where I wouldn't really mess with it, but news price, you can kind of get away with it, especially if it's news price that's already been tested. This has been tested a bunch of times. You can see how price kind of bounced around this area. So it's pretty much used up. The reason why you don't want to touch the other price points is because those are areas of liquidity most of the time. People have pending orders waiting right there. But yeah, over here, I think it would be okay to take because it was just news price is not necessarily areas where price would likely get manipulated. And it's already been kind of wiped out. Even if there was liquidity sitting there, it's been wiped out because it's been touched so many times already. So nice work, Rashida. Yeah, I agree. I said Nikki. Nick said that it was sketchy, but solid volatility. It's enough to kind of like catch, stuff like that. It's pretty much what I was talking about earlier. Like if you can trade in the direction of the trend, like even off the red flags, price is likely to bounce off those points. Right. The only problem here is that price is consolidating. I think that's the biggest factor for me here is that price is kind of just going through the motions here. Nick said, I personally always stay away from high impact news price, especially the 530. Yeah, the 530 is usually the one that I would avoid because that's the one that actually has like the biggest impact on the market. Everything else throughout the day is usually kind of just stale. Sometimes it's big, like past couple of times it's been kind of big, like the 7 o'clock news. The 7:30 news is usually not that big. It's usually just like the 6:45 and 7 o'clock news, and then 5 o'clock, of course, or 5:30 for the pre-market. Gosh, yeah, Nick said he always marks the 5:30 as red. I should probably do that too. So I think maybe for the higher impact news events, I'll mark them up as red so that we can kind of know which news event is for what. And then we can still avoid those, but still kind of ignore the smaller news events. All right, so we got news right here at 7:30. It's going to be gas stock change, nothing big. And then we got 30 minutes till 8. I'm going to mark up 8 o'clock right here so I can have an idea of where and what to look for. Barack said, I know K2 isn't political, but I sure hope this dude gets to be president again for the sake of traders. Yeah, no, of course, me too. A lot of people are against Trump becoming president because of like the craziness that he caused when he was president. But he's good for economy. He's good for politics. He's good for, just the country overall, whether you like him or you hate him. He does things for the economy that, obviously Trump can't. I mean, Biden can't. So it is what it is. I mean, everyone has their own opinions on certain people and presidents and et cetera. But for us traders, I think Trump would be a good thing because he's just going to shake up. He's going to shake up the world. He's going to shake up politics. He's going to shake up everything, and it's going to cause more volatility in the market. Yeah, iPad said it's wild that we have to talk about this dude every day. I know. He's just it's the main topic. It's the main topic of of like really the economy and like just everything in general. Because the president should be someone who is I'm not gonna mark up news guys because news happen at the same price point right here. Same thing. But yeah, the president should be a leading like the president should be a leading indicator in the market, right? The thing with Biden is that Biden just isn't, he's not present. He's not really saying anything. There's no breaking news about Biden. There's nothing that he's really doing. Um, that's causing the market to kind of move, right? Like the president should be doing something. Like even when people hate on Democrats all the time, but even when Barack was president, he would still be a strong figure to kind of look up to like understand where the market and the economy is going. The thing like Biden's like not he's not like broadcasted at all. We don't know what's going on in the economy. We don't know what's going on in the world. There's a bunch of wars going on around the world, and we don't hear anything from him, right? He has no opinion on like what side he chooses. Because like I know everybody has their own side, of course, like the stuff that's going on in Palestine and Israel and stuff like that. Everyone has their own side. The president has to choose a side. He's trying to be on both sides, but he can't be. Uh, and it's just that's kind of what's causing the market to. I feel like because Biden is president, that's why the market's pretty slow. Because if like, say for example, not to say Trump, but if anybody else was president, and if someone was siding with, say, Israel, or they were siding with, the Middle East with Palestine, then it would cause like wars to happen. So if like we were to back somebody in one way or the other, it's going to cause the market to go up or go down, right? If we go to war with another country and the US is involved, of course, price is going to go up or price is going to go down. But because we're not involved and we're always involved, usually there's nothing going on here. It's just going back and forth. Prices in limbo. So yeah, no, exactly. Williams said he's a staple for American economy for good or bad. So I don't really care who's going to be president. I just care that the next president is going to have more of a voice for the country, right? Like actually have something to say about like what's going on with the economy, what's going on with the wars around the world, what's going on with, I mean, pretty much a lot of stuff that's happening that like a lot of people just don't have an idea. And of course, it's going to cause volatility in the market. Whether it's good or bad, it's going to cause volatility in the market. Thanks for shooting. Yeah, the sell signal just closed right here, guys, for the sell on the 1 minute. Let's check on the higher time frames. 5 minute. We already have a sell signal here running. 10 minute. Yeah. So everything here is still pointing towards a sell. We just don't have any volatility here. Yeah, I mean, either way, guys, like whoever becomes president, they're still going to be a puppet, right? That's just kind of what it is. They're going to be a puppet for the, but you want to have somebody who's going to speak out, of course. That's going to be one of the like you want to have someone that's a little outspoken as president, because of course the president's going to be a puppet for whoever's making decisions out there, but you want them to actually stand behind the decision and have something to say about it. Let's see, Bamal's asking MD setting up. Yeah, it could be setting up right here if this retraces back up. So we have the sell signal, we have the retracement right here. This is what I wasn't looking for. I was hoping there would be no buy signal. So I mean, there could be an MD setting up right here, but there's if it pushes up too high, then obviously the buy signal is going to come up. So the momentum divergence is setting up right here. We just need price to kind of come down a little bit. It doesn't have to come down a lot because I don't want price to be over here. Let me measure how much space we have here to trade from the session. So we don't really have much space here. Price can come down, but it can't come down farther than this point right here, because at this point, it's going to touch the session. And again, if the buy signal over here closes, then of course, we're not going to have an MD right there as well. Yeah, exactly, Vimal. So it crossed above, now it needs to cross back below. But if we get a buy signal here, it's pretty much going to invalidate it. And there goes your buy signal, Vimal. So unfortunately, nothing there. Nick said pool market. Yep, pool market indeed. So price is back into the range. You guys can see over here, it's pretty much just if you ignore everything that happens outside of this range, this is where price is pretty much at. It's just here. These are fake outs, of course. I mean, this is a fake out, of course. You guys can see price came back below to lure in some sellers, and then it just pulled back into the range. So everything that happens down here is pretty much pointless. It's like, let me see if I could draw a box here. I don't think I can color it. Oh, whoops. I was going to try to color the rectangle like to. Oh, no. I was trying to cover the candles right here to show you guys there. So if you guys like see this right here, this is like where the actual movement's happening, right? So if we were to like hide the lower part, this is like where the actual market's happening. Everything below here is just fake out. These are all fake out zones. And then price just pulls back into the area. So realistically, this is where the market's been moving. These are just where people are getting lured in. So like, people will chase the sellers here, price comes back up to stop them out. People chase more sellers here, and it just stops them out. It's kind of annoying. It's kind of annoying because the market isn't directional at all. So you can see over here, this blue line is the opening price, right? Typically, price pushes away from this blue line and it stays away from it. Like a price will push down and it'll just stay down here for like the rest of the day. Or a price will push above it and it'll just stay above here for the rest of the day. You guys can see from yesterday, today, and Tuesday, price kind of just comes back to opening price. It's like it hasn't really gone anywhere. So there is just nothing here. Yeah, Nick said the DNC announced that they will be doing a virtual conference to officially announce their choice of nominee, Biden Harris, of course. But this is the first time that's ever been done in history. Generally, they do a public announcement and it's somewhat of a campaign stop, but it seems they want to keep old Joe out of the spotlight. Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, I don't really care, like, for the political parties. I feel like either way, like people always try to blame the Democrats or they blame the Republicans or whatever. It's the same thing, guys. Like people always think that it's really different. It's not. Either way, whoever's president is going to be a puppet for whatever the country wants to do, right? There's other people who are making decisions. Um, like it's like I just see the same. It's not really a big difference because it doesn't really matter who's president. They're not really making decisions. They're just the person to look up to. But realistically, they're following the script, just like with anybody else in anything, right? If you guys ever worked a corporate job, you're not really in control. Your boss is in control. Whoever's above you is in control. It's there should be nothing there. All I want is for volatility in the market. I don't care what happens next. I just want volatility in the market. So let's see if price actually pushes this way or this way, but We got 20 minutes. I'm hoping we get something here because this whole week's been pretty slow for the most part, aside from all the fake outs. And I just want to get out of this hole. I'm in a hole this week. I took a loss on Tuesday. I want to at least recoup some of that hole. But there's just nothing here for us to take. Okay, we have a sell signal here. Okay, it's perfect. Well, not perfect, but this is what I'm hoping will happen here. We get a sell signal. It actually drops down a little bit. Maybe retracement comes back down. I just want some sort of direction here because this is just going back and forth. Well, let's see if it actually comes through. Okay, we have a sell signal here. This is perfect. I might even be tempted to take that other thing that I was telling you guys about. If there's no wick on here, I'm probably expecting this to drop at least 10 points. And there's a wick there now, so never mind. Take that back. There's now a wick. The volatility is just too low. I mean, it's not flat, but it's pretty low. It's currently at 15 right now. So price is within the range, but all right, let's see if this here ends up holding. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to look for something here, some sort of analysis for us to like pull something out of this movement, but there's just really nothing here to look at. I mean, prices, it looks like that there's a new range between the support level here. So there's the actual range, and then there's a range below the support level right here, or around the support level. Um, all right, so if anything here, what I'm looking for, or what I kind of anticipate is I'm anticipating price to push down and retest the sessions right here. I'm just looking for some sort of price action here to kind of show me when price is actually going to drop. Right now, it's not really happening. And of course, your price is now pulling back into the upper range. All right, nice rejection right there. There's a rejection off the pivot. Another hint here that price is probably going to drop down lower. You got no wick on top right here. Again, my guess is that price is going to push down to the sessions right there. Candle's a little too strong. Yeah, it's a little too strong right there. There's a high level momentum scalp that came up here. I don't know if anybody saw that aside from CJ. CJ identified that right there. There was a higher high, sell signal broken close past pivots 1 and 2 right there. And it came down further. So again, the two strategies that work well during these types of markets are the CB entries, the high level momentum scalp, and then possibly the high low scalp V2. Those are the three ones that we officially have listed as a sideways strategy. If you guys are able to follow those, great. If you guys aren't, it's perfectly fine. I'm kind of sticking to my game plan here with the momentum divergence. If I have anything else here that kind of lines up with it, then I'd be maybe okay with taking certain trades. This is the price action move that I was telling you guys about. I'm not going to take it. I'm just going to let it sit. It was just too close to, well, the candle was a little too big earlier, but here's a setup that I kind of told you guys about. So sell signal, bearish trend. This candle here is a strong red candle with no wick on top. My guess is that this is probably going to push down a little more. The only problem with this is that this candle was so huge earlier, right? So that's why I was pretty much checked out and I wasn't okay with taking it. If this candle here closed like this, like without this huge wick on the bottom, I would have been okay with taking it. But because this candle was so big earlier, I mean, it would have been impossible for me to catch this and then ride this down to the sessions, which is like 6 points. So I'm gonna take this off. I don't want you guys to think that I'm in the position, but this is kind of the setup that I was, possibly looking for. 7:45 right now. There is not really much here to work with. The volatility is kind of low. Okay, so this is one of the good things. We might get a momentum divergence here, guys. All right, so I didn't even bother looking at this here, but it looks like we might be getting a momentum divergence. I'm okay with it kind of retracing up a little bit. And then if it comes back down, I will be looking for that momentum divergence here. Just the volatility is kind of low. So I'm okay with the retracement right here a little bit. There we go. Small little retracement. I just don't want it to retrace too hard because then it's going to be tough to come back down. And I don't want it to be too weak because then it's going to be tough for it to actually diverge. Okay, so we have the divergence right there. We're now looking for the correction back down. The only problem here again is that price is going to be really close to the Asia low. So I was hoping it'd push up a little bit higher to like maybe news price up here and then come down. But I mean, we got to work with what we got here. If it gets too close, I'm not going to take the entry. So the lowest I'll take it is if the entry happens right here. Anything lower than this here is just it's too far down. It's going to be too close to the sessions below. So I'm looking for the divergence here to happen, but I'm also making sure that it doesn't drop too low. At that point, it's going to be considered a FOMO move, of course. So that same entry I was marking up earlier, guys, looks like it's still currently running right now. So that was the entry that I marked up over here with the price action move. So like basically sell signal, red candle with no top wick, and it just hit full TP right there. If anybody caught that, nice work. I was looking for the divergence here. The only problem is it's just too close. It's just a little too close. So I'll let this kind of retrace up a little bit. I'm hoping it retraces up a little higher. So I would be okay with it pushing up a little higher, maybe rejecting off the level 4 pivot up there and then come back down. But it's way too close right here. All right, so I'm okay with a couple green candles here. A couple green candles, just push it up a little bit to give me some space for the entry. Nice. So Kenneth said he took the break of structure MPS. So Kenneth over here actually caught the MPS, looks like. Yeah, it was perfect right there, Kenny. So he took it right here off the 70 mark. Price pulled back right here. Took that, wrote it back down to TP. Nice work, Kenny. All right, I'm all right with this kind of pushing up a little bit higher. I don't want the buy signal, of course. So we don't want the buy signal to close, but we do want this retracement. So I'm looking for it to maybe bounce off this point, establish a divergence for us. No buy signal. Perfect, no buy signal. I mean, this area here is just not enough space. I don't even know if we're going to be able to get another divergence here because the divergence here is kind of spread out at this point. And this space right here is just too tight. Like trying to trade within this range here is difficult. It's only 32 points. So in order for us to get a divergence, it's going to have to be a pretty clean divergence, or it's going to have to retrace up a little higher. So it's going to have to retrace up maybe up to here. But at that point, I think we'll get a buy signal. And it's just going to, I mean, basically reset the process. So back to the clean chart here. Again, like I said earlier, guys, these are all just fake outs, right? It's just a ton of fake outs right here. All these are fake outs. I mean, the real direction right now is just between this. Right here. That's all that's going on. There goes a buy signal. God damn it. All right, so I don't know if we're gonna have any entries again today, guys. Unfortunately, this is just one of those days. Price hasn't really gone anywhere. If you guys have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. It's just one of those days again where price just sits within the range. This is pretty much what happened yesterday. If you guys followed the market yesterday, this range actually continued for like the next, I think we got off at 8 o'clock and this continued on to like 11. So like this just continued going sideways for, let's see, it started at like 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Went sideways for about 4 hours within the range. If you guys continued to trade yesterday, it just kept going back and forth for like 4 hours. And then eventually price just dumped on like right here. So you guys can see over here the sideways movement from yesterday. This is from 6:30. See how this thing just went sideways from 6:30 like until the end of the session. And then it just dumped right here on Asia session. So this is exactly the same market as yesterday, from 6:30 up until 1 o'clock or 12 o'clock noon. Price went sideways. This is from yesterday, Wednesday, and then it just dumped right here during Asia session. The same thing that's happening today. If you look over here at today's market, it's pretty much the same thing. So you guys can see over here, from 6:30, price pretty much established the range, and this is probably just going to keep ranging between this middle area for like the rest of the day. So price might break out of this area, but be careful because when it breaks out, it's probably just going to fake out, and then it'll pull back into this middle area here. Let me go over here real quick. So question from the mall. Mall's asking question, if we have understood the market is predominantly sideways, why don't we focus on the SR buys and sells? I mean, you can do that, Vimal, and I'm pretty sure you're going to blow your account. Just being realistic, because just because you think of this now doesn't mean this is going to happen tomorrow. This has happened for today and yesterday. This didn't happen last week. It didn't happen the week before. This is what's happening right now. So that's why I'm saying you have to understand how to adapt with the market. I mean, you can do it, Vimal. You can be the test subject if you want, but I'm not expecting this to continue to move like this, like, for the rest of the month or for the rest of the year. This doesn't happen very often, where it kind of just sits within this area. I'm pretty sure, like I'm sure this has happened to a lot of you guys, where you guys see something happen in the market, like you see this sideways movement, and then you're like, okay, the market's moving sideways and it's respecting the support resistance. As soon as you start taking support resistance trades, it's going to stop doing it. Like it's happened to me so many times, and I'm sure it's happened to a lot of you guys. So I mean, if that's your question, Lamal, then you should probably try it out, right? That's the only way to know if it works. But for me, I've already been through that. I've been through that where you're kind of looking at something and you see a pattern in the market, but then you're just a little too late. By the time, like, say Monday comes around, market's moving directional again, and you're like, you haven't even blown account by then because you try to take these SR rejections. So, I mean, if you want to trade SR, you can trade SR, but you have to stick to SR. That's a different type of strategy, right? I'm a directional trend trader. So for me, I'm always trading in the direction of the trend. And it goes back to your question, like that we had during the mentoring session too. I'm also like last week we had the mentoring session, and then you asked, you kind of asked the same question, but you just kind of rephrase it. You kind of ask, okay, the market's changing, then what are you going to do? And I always tell you the same thing. I'm going to do the same thing that I've always been doing, right? And the same thing happens here. You're saying, oh, if the market's going sideways, then why don't you take the SR? Because I'm following my trading plan, which is to continue to trade in the same direction. So either way, if the market's sideways like this, I'm going to continue trend trading, and I'm going to keep doing what I've been doing for, pretty much every day. I've been trading the same way every day for like the past, I don't know, 6+ years now. I always trade in the trend. So like, for example, if you guys see here, I'm always looking for the trend, and I'm always looking for entries in the direction of the trend, right? Even though price is going sideways here, I'm still looking for directions in the trend because price is still trending, even though price is going sideways here. So for example, price is going sideways right here for the day, but I'm still looking for sells because you guys can see that the trend here is still bearish. So let's see. Vimal said, yeah, question is around your point of adapting to the market. Shouldn't we adapt to it? Like take trades and strategy hat for Sorry, Mamal. I think you just mistyped. That fits the market. Yeah, no, the thing is the market still moves directional, but I'm saying that the market is moving sideways right now, right? Does that make sense, Mamal? Because like I just said earlier, like I feel like your question is the same question you ask every time, but you just kind of rephrase it a little bit differently. Like you're asking if I was going to change, like you kind of just ask the same thing basically every day. You ask the same thing. Market's going sideways, Sean. Don't you want to change? I'm like, no, I'm going to stick to, I'm a trend trader and I trade directional. And then you ask the same thing the next day. And this is fine. It's fine that you're asking the same question, but like I don't know if like my point is getting across to you that I trade one way. This is my trading style, right? I trade with the trend. So it doesn't matter if market's going sideways. I'm still going to trade with the trend, but I'm going to look for some sells here. Like for example, I've been looking for sells all day today, right? We're looking for momentum divergences for a sell here. So it doesn't really matter. Price can go sideways and you can trade. I'm just saying, like, if you're going to trade sideways, like you said, that's a completely different type of trading style, right? If you're going to trade off support resistance, then you're basically a reversal trader. That's what you are. I'm not a reversal trader. I trade with the direction of the trend. I'll take reversals if they're in the direction of the trend, but I'm not going to take reversals in both directions, right? So you have the opportunity to trade that way, but that's just not my trading style. I've been trading the same way for however long I've been trading, and that's just the way that I trade. So I mean, if you want to do it, well, if you think that okay, trend trading is not for you and you want to trade sideways, then go ahead and trade support resistance. I'll trade support resistance, but I'm only going to trade resistances, right? Because the trend here is bearish. And that's what I was saying earlier. I said, if price comes down and it comes back to a red flag, you can catch the bounce off the red flag and catch it right back down. I wouldn't catch the bottom bounce. Like for CVs, I will take the CVs from the top side, but I'm not going to take the CVs from the bottom side. Does that make sense, Momo? I just want to make sure you're getting it because um, there's different strategies, but you can still trade directional. You can trade directional in the sideways market, but you're only going to take, if the trend is bearish, you're only going to take sells. If the trend is bullish, you're only going to take buys. So that's kind of what I'm trying to get across. Because sideways, if you're trading smart, like for example, so this is the way that you're referring to. You're like, oh, why don't you just trade smart resistance, right? You're going to catch reversals on both sides. The thing is, this doesn't happen very often because the market doesn't stay sideways for too long. It'll move sideways and it'll move direction. If I turn on the pivots here, you can see that it's still moving directional. So I'll take SR entries, but from the top side only. I'm not going to take anything from down here. And that's just, because you want to have some sort of bias. If you're trading both ways, you don't really have a bias. You're kind of just gambling at that point. As long as your risk reward is fine and your win rate's decent enough, you can make that work. But for me here, I want to trade in a way that I feel confident with the position. Yeah, no, for sure. Barack said, yeah, like Sean, I am a trend direction based trader, scalping in the direction of the market. I'll never change that, and that's why I'm good at that only. Yeah, and I agree, Barack, 100%. We trade very similarly. During a sideways market, we can still trade, but we're only going to look for one direction of movement. All right, guys, it's about to be 8 o'clock. Let's see. It looks like we would have gotten close to a divergence here, but unfortunately it did not retrace up right here. It wasn't MPS. Looks like Nathan caught it maybe, let's see. Yeah, so Nathan caught it right there. It was really tight. I mean, I wouldn't have taken it because this was a little lower, but Nathan caught it. Nice work right there. Typically, you would want the level to be lower than the momentum signal, but I mean, it's still a hit for you, so it's all good. I would consider that a bad entry, but it still hit, so it's all that matters. Nice work, Nathan. Let's see. Yeah, Gail said keep your strategy like instructions in a robot. Then you'll be a robot trader, no emotions, no nothing. Yeah, that's pretty much how I trade now. I don't really let the emotions take control. I just kind of trade the same way I've been trading. And if there's no entries, there's just no entries. Like for example, today I didn't take anything today. I didn't take anything yesterday. Maybe tomorrow market might be moving directional and we'll be able to catch, 2, 3 entries, etc. But it's just one of those days or it's one of those weeks where, and this usually happens during holiday weeks. Whenever we come back from a long weekend, typically the market goes sideways because there's just nobody trading for that week. Let's see, Kenneth said, when you started the mentorship a couple months ago, you were taking BB3s with confluence and V1 rejections off the zones. These strats are with the trend and have been working great. What made you change the strats? So the main thing with the BB3 is that well, I don't know if you're talking about the actual BB3 or the BB3 with continuation. For the BB3, it's kind of impossible to apply with Apex because you're going to go on a win streak sometimes, you're going to go on losing streaks. The problem with the losing streaks is that when you're on a because like we've taken data on it, and if you're on like on a not tilt, but if you're losing like 5 or 6 back-to-back losses, it's going to eat into your trailing drawdown. So you can't really like it's a strategy that you can apply on a personal account, but because of the trailing drawdown rule, it makes it almost impossible to trade the BB3 with Apex. So that's why we stopped trading that. The V1s, we just I mean, there just hasn't been really been many V1s that were in the direction of the trend lately. I still take V1s every so often, or I use it as a confluence, but for the most part, the V1s, they typically they haven't been coming up very often. We even try to make some adjustments and use this strategy called the CB. Not sure if you're around when we were looking at that, Kenny, but it's just a small little variation to like a V1 variation. Like for example, there's a couple CBs that came up over here, but they're all around red flags. So with the V1s, a lot of the times they happen around red flags, or they just don't happen like we're in the direction of the trend. So there's a couple right here that came out. There's a V1 that happened right here. This would also be a CB. It was at opening price. You can take that. There's another one right here, V1 and a CB. Again, it was at news price, red flag. And there's another one right here, again at news price, red flag. There's just too many red flags. So there's like areas over here where they just don't come up. And okay, so you're referring to the BB3 continuation, so the 10-point one. If you look over here, there hasn't really been too many that have come up very often. There was one right here, but it was at news price. We've been looking for BB3s. That's like just in general, we've been looking for BB3s, but they either don't come up or they come up at red flags. So it's not that we necessarily purposely stop looking for them. It's just that they just don't come up in areas that we want the entries to come up at. Like for example, over here, there's a BB3 that came up over here, continuation. It was at a red flag, of course, news price. And there was news at 7 o'clock too. And then same with this one over here. This one came up, but it was at news price again as well. So the strategy works fine. You're right, 100%. The strategy works fine and it looks good. But now that we've been factoring the red flags, there's no entries that come up because we've been looking at the BB3s. They just haven't been coming up, unfortunately. So we'll keep looking for them. I mean, I'm looking for even the main BB3 to come up sometimes, and they don't even come up here. So let's see if it even came up today. I haven't really been documenting it as much because it doesn't really come up as often. I think we've gone like weeks without a BB3. There's no BB3 there. No BB3 there. Nothing there. Yeah, there's actually no BB3. Actually, there was one right here. But again, this was an invalid signal. So yeah, it's not that we're avoiding the BB3, it's just that it doesn't come up as often. Not as often as it was before. And if it does come up, it tends to come up where there's a red flag or there's a reason not to take a trade. There's news, red flag, etc. And that's just how the market is right now. It sucks. All right, guys. So I think that's it for right now. If you guys have any more questions, feel free to put them in the chat or reach out to me through Discord. There's another high-low momentum scalp here that just came up. Again, it was at the news price, so another situation there. So the problem with these sideways markets is that you get a bunch of red flags. So let me just zoom out real quick. Let me zoom out and just turn off all of the extra stuff here. So you guys can see price pretty much goes sideways for the entire session. And the problem is that a lot of our entries come up right here where the red flags are, right? Same with the momentum divergence right here. We were looking for this to come up, but again, it's too close to the red flags down here. And you guys can see there's not enough room for us to take any entries. So the problem with this here is that price just stays within the middle. And the problem with it staying within the middle is that there's a bunch of red flags within this middle area. So although there's setups that come up, me sticking to my trading plan, I stay away from red flags because those are typically where price gets manipulated. And unfortunately, that's just the current market that we're currently in. I'm hoping that we say this almost every week that we hope that the market kind of moves directional. But I really hope that once we start a new month, because we're going into June, May has been very, very back and forth for us. So, I talked about this with Nick. It kind of sucks because like for 1 week, we'll have a couple wins and then we'll have a loss and then it kind of wipes out the profits. And then we have another win the next week and then it wipes out the profits when we have a loss. And then again, this week we had a loss on Tuesday, well, me personally, and then I'm back at break even for like the month now. So, just looking at the stats for the year so far, or not even just the year, but overall, it's been a really long time since I've had a break-even month or even a losing month. So this is kind of a turning point. I'm hoping as we enter into June that we go back into the regular, because there's barely been any trades. So if you look at the trades here, we've only taken 13 trades for the entire month of May. That's pretty crazy for a whole month, right? It's 31 days in the month and we've only taken 13 trades. Typically, even for the breakout strategies, we've had 27 trades last month. We've had 18 trades in March, 27 trades in February, 15 trades in January. 13 trades is very low for a spring month. Even if you look back at 2023, we had 26 trades on average. Let's see, May of last year. So looking back at it, May's kind of been a slow month, actually. So May of last year, it was a slow month, we had 17 trades, but they were all wins, of course. It looks like for June, it picked up a little bit. We had 24 trades. July picked up to 34 trades. August, 19 trades. September, 23 trades. So the average is around like 20 plus trades or around 20 trades. But yeah, unfortunately, we only have 13 trades for this month and it's been super, super slow. So yeah, with that said, guys, we're going to wrap this up for the day. Unfortunately, this is another day where price just went sideways for the entire session. It's kind of similar to what happened yesterday. So we weren't able to take any trades. If you guys have profits to post up, feel free to send them in. Looks like we have a couple right here. So we got Natasha with a total profit of 494 on her first account. Nice work right there, Natasha. Her second account, total profit of 783. Nice work. We have Narith over here, total profit of about 5,000 per account. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Looks like he has 20 accounts there. So he locked in some pretty good profit here. We'll just leave it at that. I don't want to add it up because it's just too much here to add up because they're all different. But he locked in, looks like well over 30 to 50K right here for the day. I think these are the new accounts. So I think Narith here is running some new 250K accounts while the promo is going on. And he locked in some pretty good profit here. So great profit there, guys. If you guys locked in profit today, great work. The market's just been too slow, so we haven't been able to catch anything. But hopefully, when we start June, it'll pick back up and we'll be able to get back on track. So, all right, guys, if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out. Otherwise, I'll see you guys back here tomorrow as we wrap up the trading week. So, all right, guys.